Hello again, everyone. I got a new week up here, so I'm going to talk about the Kansas City teams this week. So I'm going to look at the Royals of the MLB and the Chiefs in the NFL. I'm going to talk about the Royals today after the big acquisition trade yesterday, picking up Johnny Cueto from the Reds for a bunch of prospects, and now I think this Royals team has everything going right for it. I think the AL Central is theirs to lose. They got an 8-game lead in that division right now, and that's what I'm going to get into first. Right now, they got a 60-38 record. So they're 8 games up on the Twins, which is really the only team in this division that I think could maybe find a way to beat the Royals in this division. The Tigers are having a dismal year. White Sox and Cleveland, again, they're both well under 500. Detroit's kind of hovering around the 500 mark, but the 60-38 record for the Royals, they're having a fantastic year. When you look at the Royals and the Twins, because I really think it will come down to those two teams, I think the Royals have this division locked up, unless something catastrophic happens in this last 64 games of the year that they have, and the Twins find a way to surge. I really don't think they're going to let an 8-game lead heading into August slip away. I don't think they're going to necessarily run away with the division. I don't think they're going to win the division by 10 games or something like that, but they have an 8-game lead right now. Both the Twins and the Royals have 64 games left. Excuse me. So how I look at that is if the Royals go 32-32, let's say they play 500, that means that the Twins got to go 40-24 in their last 64 games just to tie the Royals right now in that division, and that's a lot to expect from a team. 40-24 definitely isn't something that the Twins couldn't do, but based on how they've been playing so far this season, it's not something that's going to be easily done by them, and especially now that the Royals have Johnny Cueto on that pitching staff, I really think that acquisition gives them that extra punch that they need to secure this division, and I think they could be on the way to being the AL representative in the World Series if they can keep going down the path they're going and the players they have keep stepping up for them. Looking at their players, I'm going to talk about some of their stats. Their stats are going to be based as of Sunday, so the 26th, so I might be off by a little bit when it comes to the averages and maybe a home run or two or an RBI or two here or there. So the stats are as of July 26th. And when you look at this team, first guy I'm going to talk about is Kendrys Morales, their DH. The reason I want to start off with him is he might not be the all-star or the flashy guy on the team. He is 32 years old. He's not a young guy or anything like that. But he bounced around so much, and I don't know how that happens. He has 65 RBIs with this team so far this year, 12 homers, and a 282 average. He's leading the team in RBIs and is on his way to having a 100-plus RBI season. Why he bounced around so much and was having a hard time getting signed to a team and that kind of stuff, I really couldn't understand, because of the 15 teams in the AL, I bet 10 of them would be happy to have Morales as a DH, especially with the way he's producing for this team. There's few teams out there, I think, that wouldn't want a DH like this. I mean, Boston has Ortiz, so obviously he wouldn't go to Boston. Toronto's got a powerful lineup as it is right now, so I don't think he'd be heading into an AL East team. Although I think Baltimore would love him, Tampa Bay would probably take him. The Yankees even maybe would give him a crack, kind of thing. I don't think the Royals are getting rid of this guy at all, but I was just surprised how he bounced around so much, especially in the AL when there's so many competitive divisions and teams that need a solid DH position guy who can also play first. He's not going to be a regular everyday first baseman, but you can throw him out there for 30, 40 games a year to play first base, to give your everyday first baseman a rest, or your first baseman can DH kind of thing. But surprised he bounced around so much. He's playing great for this team, and I think he's going to be a very important person going into the end of this season and into the playoffs for the Royals. Looking at the All-Stars, to start with catcher position, Salvador Perez. He's leading the team in home runs. He's got 15 home runs, again, as of the 26th of July, with 41 RBIs and a 252 average. So, again, his average is down a little bit. 252 is a little low, but you're going to give up the average for the production that he's doing for this team any day, no problem. Third base, obviously, Moustakas was also an all-star, very well deserving. He's got a 296 average with 10 homers and 39 RBIs, playing very, very well for this team this year. Then when you look out into the outfield, you got Lorenzo Cain, who's got a 312 average, leading the team in that department with 11 homers, 46 RBIs, as well as 18 stolen bases. So this guy can do a little bit of everything. He's got power, he's got speed. If he gets on base, he's gonna cause some headaches for the opposing pitcher, and he's going to do some stuff on the base pass for this team for sure. Looking at their other outfielders before I pop back into the infield, Alex Gordon, obviously he's been on the DL since the July 8th, and that hurts the team for sure. Before that, going on the DL, he's got a 279 average with 11 homers and 39 RBIs, so I definitely think he was on pace to having a 20 home run season with 75, 80 RBIs maybe kind of thing. But depending on how quickly he gets back from the DL, I'm not sure if he'll reach that kind of numbers, but definitely hurts to have him on the DL for this team for sure. Other outfielders, Jared Dyson, he's got a 252 average with a homer, 12 RBIs, but 17 stolen bases as well. So when you have two guys on your team that are on pace to having 30 stolen bases over the course of the year, with Kane and Dyson, that's fantastic when they get on base, and it also means that they can cover a lot of ground in the outfield. So you don't have to worry about playing them short or playing them deep. They're going to be able to cover a lot of ground. It kind of allows you to be a little more creative with your defensive alignments when certain players on bat when it comes to doing the shifts. Do we bring the outfielders in? Do we push them back? That kind of stuff. It allows you to be a little more creative because these guys can cover ground. Obviously, they got speed for sure. Paulo Orlando's got a 243 average with 4 homers, 17 RBIs, and a few stolen bases himself. And then Alex Rios, the other outfielder they have, he's got a 261 average with 7 stolen bases, 15 RBIs, and a couple homers. So again, they got a lot of speed out there in the outfield, even with Alex Gordon out. Like I said, with Kane and Dyson, they're well on pace to having 30 stolen base seasons and cover a lot of ground out there. Fantastic outfield for this team. Like I've already talked about Perez at the catcher position, Moustakas at third base for the All-Stars they got in the infield. When you work your way around, you got Alcides Escobar, the shortstop position. He's got a 288 average with a couple homers, 35 RBIs, and 7 stolen bases as well, so he has a little bit of speed as well with his game. At second base is really their only weak spot, I'm going to say, when it comes to the infield. And not that Omar Infante isn't a great player, he is. He's only got a 230 average, though. No homers. Not that he is a home run hitter. You're not going to expect many homers from this guy. If he hits 5 over the course of a year, that'd be great. But he hasn't had any. 20 and only 28 RBIs. Again, you got other guys that are producing the RBI department, so it's not really a huge deal. He is 33 years old, so he is approaching that mid 30s. I'm not sure what their AAA team is like or their AA team is like. Maybe they got a young, good, solid second baseman coming up who is gonna slide into that position. Maybe that's an area they look at with the trade deadline coming up. Obviously, the big trade they got with Johnny Cueto, maybe that's another position they try to fill. But I think the roster they have already is pretty solid. So you might just keep Infante as a good veteran leader on this team. He's having a rough year, 230 average, like I said. But he can still play second base very well in the defensive area, and you don't need to have everybody on your team batting 280 and having a bunch of home runs and RBIs. That'd be great if you did, but you don't necessarily need to have all that. You have to have guys who can play on the defensive side of the ball as well, and I think that's what Infante brings to this team. Finishing off with the infield, you got Eric Hosmer. I was a little surprised he didn't get All-Star votes. I didn't think he was going to get to the All-Star game, but I definitely thought he was going to get a lot of votes purely based on how well he's playing this year. He's got a 304 average, 49 RBIs, and 9 homers, so I think the only reason he didn't make the All-Star game was because his home run total was down. If he had 15 home runs kind of thing, I think then he would have got the votes and he would have gotten in. So I think it's just because his home run numbers were down, but he's got 49 RBIs and a 300-plus average, and those are fantastic. So if you can have two guys on your team with Kane and Hosmer in the middle of that lineup who have great power numbers, can produce for your team, and have potential 100 RBI seasons, but couple that with a 300-plus average, that's great. You would give up the 300 average for the production those two guys bring and be okay with them batting 260, 265, but they're doing both. They got a great average and are producing for this team. Looking at the pitching staff, obviously Cueto now with this team comes in with a 7-6 record with a 2.62 ERA and 120 strikeouts. He's really their only strikeout per inning starter now. That they've got that guy. Volquez is definitely another great pitcher for this team and can be a strikeout per inning guy, but isn't quite there. Cueto can do that. He can be a strikeout per inning guy for this team. A great guy to bring in for sure. Volquez 9-5 with 3.15 ERA and 91 strikeouts. Great 1-2 punch now with Cueto and him. Guthrie's a 7-6 record with a 5.35 ERA and 56 Ks. Young's got an 8-6 record with a 3.32 ERA and 61 strikeouts. Ventura and Duffy is kind of how I see their starting five rounding out. Bringing in Cueto, one of those guys is probably going to be going to the pen. They're not going to go with a 6-man rotation to finish off the year. I don't see that happening at all. Ventura's 5-7 with a 4.86 ERA and 70 strikeouts. Duffy's 4-4 with a 4.03 ERA and 48 strikeouts. So one of those guys is probably going to the pen. We'll see what happens once Cueto gets into the fold and see how he plays for this team. I don't see him, not playing well for this team. I think he's going to continue the success he has in Cincinnati, and now he's got the run support. I think the 7-6 record doesn't exactly showcase how well Cueto is as a pitcher. But now he's definitely going to be getting the run support with this Royals team, and now he's going to have that extra fire knowing that he's on a team that's going to the playoffs and probably has a very good chance of making it to the World Series. Lastly, their closer, Holland. Obviously, this team, with the record they have, can't be losing them many close games, and you have to have a guy who can come in and shut those games down, and that's definitely what Holland does for this team. He's got a 3.23 ERA, 35 strikeouts to 30.2 innings pitched. Again, all these stats are as of July 26th, so might be a little off if he came in last night. I didn't check the game out last night, but very great closer for this team. He's already got 20-plus saves on the season, so he's definitely a guy that they want at the end of the game to seal those close games and make sure that this Royals team keeps heading on the right direction, finishes off the season strong with their last 64 games. Like I said, they don't need to go out and go 15-14 or something ridiculous to win this division. If they can play solid 500 ball from now until the end of the season, I think this AL Central is their division to take, and then I expect them to play very well in the playoffs and possibly make the World Series. So those are my thoughts on the Royals. I'll be continuing Kansas City week on Thursday with my look at the Kansas City Chiefs of the NFL. Thank you again all for watching and listening. You can follow me on Twitter at GHAM614, and that's it for now. Thanks again. Bye-bye.